Last video, I told you about a lot of good Roblox games for you to play. That video got a lot of comments, many of which were suggestions for great games. So now, I'm gonna play some of those games and pick the best ones to talk about in this video. Skill-based boss fights is a great and rage-inducing game where you fight bosses and if you don't have skill, you die. But don't worry, I'm very skillful, so I got some good gameplay footage. So basically, you have 4 classes to play with: Sword, Mace, Zealot, and Paintball. In my opinion, Sword is the best. You fight super hard bosses, but thankfully I play Terraria Calamity Inferno. So by that, you should know these bosses are hard, and unless you're insane, better played with friends. So I caught up the boys and absolutely destroyed this man. Neon Knights is basically not Roblox. It's an isometric cyberpunk shooter with a neon and Japanese style. That is one long genre name. Oh yeah, and remember that Lego art style? Well, that's gone. It's a whole new art style now. Now, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I will say how the game works. So basically, you start in a tutorial level, which is already rare in Roblox, where you have a train with 2 others. This is where the dialogue and art are showed off, which is amazing and I'm sure has lots of work put into it. After you learn how to play the game, you then learn what to do, which is pretty much dungeon crawling with a cyberpunk aesthetic. And if you want, you can play with up to 4 friends. You go to a room fighting a bunch of robots and looting to get better and better weapons and currency, which is carbon. Like, wow, a currency in Roblox that's not completely restricted to Robux. And I mean, you can buy carbon with Robux, but even then, the only thing you can buy with carbon other than clothes are randomized weapon boxes. So even if you pay, you're not getting an advantage over other free-to-play players. So overall, it's a cyberpunk dungeon crawling isometric shooter with no predatory marketing techniques that can still keep you playing for a long time. And the whole game is free. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. By the way, there's a link in the description of this video to get deals on amazing and popular games. By clicking that link, you will also be supporting my channel, so go ahead and do that. Before I get into another #1 Roblox game for me, let's do another round of not good enough to get a whole part in this video mentions. This time, I'll give an actual reason why I didn't make a whole bit on them. Hours. Really fun, but single player. Realistic hood testing. Boring normally, but crazy fun in a private server with friends where you make yourself invisible and play Survive the Ghost. And Rinspired. This one is actually good and was the #1 game from the last video. Go play it for good times. And finally, the last and best game, fighting with a PH. Fighting is a true example of an underrated but amazing Roblox game. It's polished, has an amazing aesthetic, and a super great gameplay loop. So basically, the game goes like this. There are 13 fighters, also with a PH, that you can play as. Sword, rocket, medkit, slingshot, boombox, skateboard, biograph, hyperlaser, subspace, katana, shuriken, vine staff, and the newly added banhammer. All of these are the classic archetypes in a fighting game, like melee, ranged, healer, tank, etc., with some variation as well. Now, there are two game modes, Conquer, where you capture points, and Annihilate, where whichever team gets the most kills wins. While this may seem like it's not too much, it's the perfect amount for the content that this game has. And trust me, the gameplay can get chaotic, especially towards the end, with the 1 minute left soundtrack, and if you're lucky enough, the overtime soundtrack. On that topic, the soundtrack of this game is unimpeachable. Like, it's pure speed. It's a mix of I don't even know how many genres, and it fits this game so well. I mean, just listen to the overtime music I was talking about. And the music I used for the last part of last week's video. Overall, this is a game you should play, and if you don't play it, you haven't experienced the height of Roblox's potential. In conclusion, I would have added fighting to the last video, but I forgot about it. So, here it is. Also, this video wouldn't have been possible without all of those who left recommendations in my comments, so shout out to them, and thank you very much for those recommendations. And before I end the video, all I ask of you is to play fighting. Just play it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you happen to have a good idea for a video essay that I should make, leave it in the comments, and I may make a video on it just like this one.